Hi, boys and girls. We are doing lesson 6, and you will need your activity book open to page 7.1 as you see on the screen, and you'll need your reader open to chapter 5. So what you're going to do as I read, you're going to, for each set of pages here, you can see the first set of pages is page 56 and 57. So as I'm reading these pages, I want you to write down 2 things that you think are important from each of these sections. So when I'm done reading pages 56 and 57, you can pause the video and write down the 2 things you think we should remember. Then we'll go on to pages 58 and 59. 60 and 61, and so on and so forth. So by the time you're finished with this assignment, you should have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 things written on your paper. And these are things that you think are the key ideas. The key ideas, my stylus is falling apart here. The most important details from the reading. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Chapter 5, this is on page 56 in your reader. Do you remember what color sunlight is? Hopefully you didn't say no color. You learned that sunlight is white light. You also learned that instead of being no color, white light is made up of all the colors of the rainbow. Remember, the sun looks yellow because it gives off more yellow light than it does the other colors. You can prove that white light is really many colors if you have a wedge-shaped piece of transparent glass called a prism. If you hold a prism near a sunny window, light will shine through and make a rainbow-like band of colors. This shows the white light is really made up of all colors. So there you can see a prism and the white light coming through from the bottom, and it comes out as all the colors of the rainbow. So that was pages 56 and 57. So on your paper, you're going to write 2 things that you think we should remember. They don't have to be long things. Maybe it's a word that you heard. It doesn't have to be long. It just needs to be 2 key things that we should remember. And maybe it's something review. All right, page 58. So now you're listening for 2 more things that you want to write for pages 58 and 59. Do you remember what you learned about refraction? What happens to light when it passes through something transparent like glass? The light slows down and changes its path. A prism has a special shape that refracts white light into all of the colors of the rainbow. Have you ever seen a rainbow in the sky when the sun comes out after it rains? Raindrops in the sky refract the light, just like a prism. This is what creates the rainbow. So there we see a rainbow occurs when raindrops refract sunlight into all of the colors of the visible light. So pause the video, write down 2 things you want to remember from pages 58 and 59. Now we're on to page 60 and 61. When white light is refracted, it often separates into a combination of colors called the spectrum. The colors in the spectrum always appear in the same order: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. These colors are part of the visible light spectrum. Maybe you've heard of Roy G. Biv to remember the colors of the rainbow. They are the light waves that humans can see. The colors of visible light are a result of differences in wavelength. Red light has long wavelengths and violet light has short wavelengths. You can remember the names of the colors in the visible light spectrum in the right order if you can remember this funny name. And there you go, Roy G. Biv. Each letter in that name stands for a color in the rainbow. Say it out loud. Try to remember. Roy G. Biv. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. So there we go. You can remember the order of colors in the visible light spectrum if you remember Roy G. Biv. So go ahead and write down 2 things you think we should remember from pages 60 and 61. All right, moving on to 62 and 63. Did you know that the color of any object depends on what light wavelength it reflects? Different objects absorb light wavelengths of some colors, but reflect others. This is what creates color. Blue jeans appear blue because something in the material reflects blue light and absorbs all of the other light colors. Do you see anyone in your class or at home today wearing a red sweater? The sweater appears red because something in the material reflects red light and absorbs all of the other light. What about things that appear to be white? They look white because the object reflects all of the white light wavelengths and doesn't absorb any light. Can you guess why something looks black? Things that appear black do not reflect any light. They absorb all of the light wavelengths. That's just mind-boggling to me, that all these different materials reflect light differently. So here we see, can you explain why each thing appears to be the color it is? Because it's reflecting that color and absorbing all the others. That's just amazing to me. All right, for 62 and 63, write down 2 things you think we should remember. It can be just a word, it can be a phrase, or a fact. Moving on to 64 and 65. Remember that the colors we see are from light of specific wavelengths, but there is much more to light than just the wavelengths we can see. In fact, visible light is only a small part of the energy waves that come from sunlight. For example, on the shorter wavelength end of the light spectrum, there are invisible ultraviolet light waves that cause sunburn. X-rays are even shorter wavelengths of light. We can't see these light X-rays, but they can travel through the human body. You learned in How Does Your Body Work that X-rays are used to create black and white photos of what's inside the body. Do you know of any other ways that X-rays are used? So there we go. The light waves pass through your hand and create an image of your bones on special X-ray film. So go ahead and write down 2 things from pages 64 and 65. Last 2 pages. Another type of invisible light is infrared waves. The wavelengths of infrared light are longer than those of red light. These are the type of light waves that you use when you click on the remote control to change television channels. Certain wavelengths of light are invisible. We can't see the infrared light from a remote control, but we can see its effect when a channel is changed. This is all very amazing to me. Science just amazes me. Okay, so boys and girls, you should have lab notes. You should have things written down for all of your boxes, 2 things in each box, and I'll be looking forward to see what you learned.